anyway, this Claire's thing, what it does for me is it gives me the uh connection and understanding that the connection is not just um a good thing, it's natural. I'm going to do something. I hope this is not going to screw me up. No, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, so these things that, some people might call um psychic or unnatural actually are natural. These are ways that we naturally communicate with our environment and each other. So we've been going through it, and we're on the section now that is clairsentience. And Zita, are we in the right place? You are muted. Well,
Sorry, I didn't realize I'm on mute.
hey,
Um,
Jorge, good to see you, friend.
we're on page 41, and we're starting the paragraph titled Clairsentience and the Body.
Okay, so clairsentience in the body.
Yep, that one.
And so what again, let's kind of go back. Again, clairsentience is I sense something. I feel something. It's not I hear or I see a picture of something. Clairsentience is actually I feel it in my body, and that's something that we talked about quite a bit. How the body does react to the stimulus that we're being um, exposed to, and how you can use that. Like, if you ever walk by something or or think of something and you get the feeling like, "Oh, what's that?"
Mhm.
Or this is not good, or wow, that was something great's here. You get this feeling of it in your body, like, and so then you want to investigate more, or you want to get away, or you're getting a sign to
Mhm.
you're thinking of, something is happening. But it's not like you hear or see something.
Mhm.
It's just a feeling. So I think this is probably the most underrated. But
Yeah,
but people, I mean, you get it all the time. I
yeah, we
get
all.
feelings about stuff all the time. So anyway, so
Yeah. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like when you walk into a room, that's one of the examples that you walk into a room and you read the room, you feel the energy in the room, or you feel the energy in the other person. Because sometimes you'll be with people and you're talking to this person, and even though they may be smiling and talking to you, there you sense something is off with them. You can feel that, and then you can say, "Are you okay?" And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
another.
And I've done that a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a whole story about Helen Schuckman,
Mm-hmm.
who's the scribe of A Course in Miracles, and that she and Bill Thetford, her a workmate there, were in the airport, and she saw a young woman who didn't seem to be in a lot of stress, but she perceived that this young woman was in a lot of stress. And she said to Bill, "Hey, I think I need to go over and talk to her because, she's having a problem." And Bill was like, "I don't see that, that she's having a problem, but, do what you want." And so, Helen did go over and talk to her. And when she talked to her, this girl just kind of broke down and was like, "Oh, I'm terrible in a bad situation and I don't know what I'm going to do." And she was really having a hard time. But on the outside, it didn't appear that way. But because Helen was in tune with her Claire's, her connection, she knew that that was the case. And so it ended up that they kind of almost adopted this young woman. They they made sure she got to the right place when she got to New York. And I mean, they were very helpful to her. Um, but if Helen had not had that sense, then, who knows what kind of situation that young woman would have found herself in, because it turned out she didn't have any money. She was like running away from abusive family or something. I don't know what it was, but she didn't have any money. She really was not prepared to be going to New York. And so, uh, but if Helen hadn't have stopped and worked with her, who knows? She may have had a much worse outcome. So, that's why it's so important. If you got these feelings that, even if it seems ridiculous and somebody says, "Oh no, don't go talk to that person," which is what people always do to me. I'm terrible about it because, I'm going to go talk to anybody I feel, and my family is, I remember when my kids were little and my daughter said to me, "Mom, you are so nosy," because I just talked to us people and, I just had feelings about stuff. And I got, she perceived I was just being nosy, but I'm really honestly had an experience that, hey, I need to talk to this person. And always turned out some really amazing thing happened too. I had some amazing encounters. So, you just gotta let go. So anyway, do you want to read, Zita?
Sure. I'll read. No problemo. Um, okay. Clairsentience and the body. Clairsentience is a lower body intuitive skill. It involves the lower chakras, particularly the front of the second and third chakras. The fourth chakra, the heart chakra, is also involved in clairsentience. We feel the love of God through the back side of the heart and extend that love into the world through the front of the heart. It is important to note an energetic pattern that can occur with clairsentience and the lower body. If the root chakra is chronically constricted due to lack of safety, lack of trust, or trauma, the root chakra is no longer sourcing the chakras above it with grounded energy. In this case, the front of the second and third chakras can blow open too much because they still need sourcing. Not being sourced from within, these chakras will now try to find sourcing from without, i.e., for example, we seek safety and happiness in things outside of ourselves.
So I'm not real sure about all this. I mean, my skepticism here.
Yeah,
Not that I'm skeptical about I think she's on with, an experience, but I wouldn't know if that was really what's happening.
right.
Uh,
Well,
I
they
I
say
don't
that
know.
the chakras are um, energetic systems, I
Mm.
guess, and that they do supposedly, right? I don't know either because of I don't have a way of proving it either way. Um, that you need to, for example, ground yourself or imagine a light coming through you. You can imagine it from the way I used to do it anyway was when I was driving is I would imagine the light coming from God and I imagine God coming from above. So it was this bright light coming through my crown chakra and then I would see it and feel it in my mind, like that it was moving in the right direction. And sometimes you could feel like I just tried it the other day. I was laying in bed and I'm like, I haven't done this in a long time. Let me try it. And I could feel the sense in me wanting it to go clockwise, but it was kind of like stuck and going counterclockwise. So I kept, flooding it with light until I felt that it started moving like it was just full of gunk. I don't know how to explain that. That's just a feeling that I get, a feeling that I go through. How can I prove yes or no? I can't. I don't know. but it seems to be something that a lot of people practice or believe in anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can, it's all in the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm imagining a light, I'm imagining a body, I'm imagining a world. So yeah, I guess it's probably trying to focus that imagined thought into something that is uh going to help me rather than freak me out or upset me. I see Rafi has his
Yeah.
hand up. Hey, Rafi,
Yes.
go ahead. And did I see Steve came in too? Good to see you, brother. Go ahead, Rafi.
Yeah, what I got out of this is using these chakras as ways to explain how we are all divine conduits, and that the divine spirit radiates through us these body shells, if you would, as communication devices. And I got very clear about that. And we use a lot of different ways the mind uses a lot of different ways to try to explain this stuff to itself. But there is, once you get past that, then there's no need for explanation. It just becomes the isness that is.
Mm.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Yeah. I mean, this is, I mean, we don't even really know. So we're just trying to explain it to ourselves or you know, so yeah, that makes as much sense as any of it. So thank you, Rafi. So I'm going to go ahead and move the page, unless anybody else has anything to say about this. And I have a feeling she's going to expound on this, so that's why I'm not going too deep into here. So if you want to continue reading.
Sure. With the second and third chakras blown open, one potential outcome is that we develop too much clairsentience, feeling everything around us. This can lead to codependency, projection, and the misuse of empathy. Course in Miracles, text 16. The antidote is to clear out old trauma, allow the root chakra to open through grounding, and increase your sense of knowing who you truly are, which is claircognizance. Claircognizance, the back of the lower chakras, balances out too much clairsentience, the front of the lower chakras. How to strengthen clairsentience. Do you want me to continue?
Sure.
Okay. Many people who identify as empathetic or overly empathetic do not need to strengthen this clear sense. Instead, it may need to be counterbalanced with more clear cognizance and being grounded in more self, so you do not lose yourself in other people's feelings or energy. If you find strengthening clairsentience could be helpful to you, you can practice energetically grounding your body. Practice feeling love while you extend it because that is how you keep it. Journal with the intention of putting your feelings into words. This will help you clarify what you are feeling, even if the feelings are from the ego. Practice not doubting what you feel. Whether you're feeling whether your feelings are from the ego realm or the spiritual realm, it is your valid experience in the moment. Get clear on feelings and energy that are yours versus feelings and energy that are not yours, which you may be absorbing or taking on. With your intention, breathe out what is not yours, asking the Holy Spirit or angels to take it and take responsibility for what is. Continue.
Okay, well, I was just seeing if there was any more on these
Mm-mm.
things. So um
That's it on
so
those.
yeah, so yeah, let's talk about this for a minute then.
Okay.
So basically, if you find yourself uh kind of bleeding out from being overwhelmed by your feelings about what's going on in the world or what's going on with people that you know or um, uh, don't know, that you just see when I know I tend to be that way a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like overly empathic, or
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's any different than anybody else. I think, I'm not saying I'm special here because I'm over here crying because things are going on in the world that hurt, that hurt my feelings. But 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 I do, get a little overwhelmed at times. And I notice that, and I know that there's no reason for me to get overwhelmed by the world, be not overcome by the world, because I'm here to overcome the world. So when these things start affecting me in a visceral kind of way, like this she's talking about, you actually feel it in your body, in your heart. You watch, which, unfortunately, whether you want to or not, these things pop up on your social feed, etc., of all the things that are happening in the world. And if you get yourself caught up in it and don't have a tool to help you cope with it, then you will become overwhelmed, and then you can become really reactive. It can affect your health. It can affect your well-being, your relationships with people. How many of us have literally cut off people that we love, members of our family or friends, who voted for a person that, we you think is doing bad things to people. I mean, you cut yourself off when you cut off any brother. And this is what happens when we become so overwhelmed by uh our feelings, uh, when we're seeing things happen in the world. So if you don't have something to hold on to, and that's, I think, what she's talking about here, is that, practicing grounding, well, that's a great thing. Uh, Feeling love while you extend it. Um, Journal with the intention of putting your feelings into words, clarifying what you feel. Uh, don't doubt what you feel. Validate yourself, your own feelings, and be clear on them. But um, I think that's good, fine, okay, good. Uh, but I also think that uh, looking at what is happening in my mind that is making me feel this way, because uh you may hear about all the wars, children starving, you know bombs blasting. You may hear about that all day every day on the news. But if that happened in your neighborhood, if that happened to your next door neighbor, or if it happened to someone in your family, you would have a completely different experience of it. Why? Obviously, because it's personal to you. But before, when you're seeing it happen in the Ukraine or in Iran or whatever, you're like, you're not so affected by it because it's not a personal thing to you. And what I think is being said here is that um, that is not a good defense to close yourself off from all those others who are having those problems. The only real defense, and of course she doesn't say this here, but clearly from A Course in Miracles, the only real defense against any of these feelings and upsets is the atonement, and remembering the truth of what we are, and the truth of what the world is, and the truth of what our brothers are, and not getting caught up into this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a great thing to be aware of your feelings, but also be aware of how much of our feelings we are completely forgetting about because it doesn't affect me right now, or it doesn't affect somebody I know, or it doesn't affect my country,
Mm-hmm.
or it doesn't affect my neighborhood, or my race, or my gender, or what. I mean, if you were really a conscious person looking at the world through this kind of a system, like total clairsentience, you would not be able to move, I don't think. I think you would just be so devastated that you would lose your mind.
Mhm.
So, I think, uh, I don't know about strengthening this sense or counterbalancing this sense. I think it's being aware of this sense, but not using it to make differences. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think it's a good sense to have, obviously, right? That you are having these feelings and all, because we do need to be empathetic towards others, because that's where we are being guided to help, right? I think that's the kind of like the activation of, you need to, you're feeling that somebody is going through something and you have that action. If you are like, if we're watching everything that's happening on our screens, then that is no, there's, you're going to feel it, but it is of no help to shut yourself down or to not do anything, because there's other things that you can be doing. Like, and I'm just using this as an example because we're all living it right now. But, and depending on what side, doesn't matter what side of of what side you're on, um, that you are going to want to, well, then I would like to see this happening. I want people to be safe. So then you would want to call your representatives of wherever state you're at, and let them know that. So you're doing something about it. You're being called to action. And I think for me, it's a good thing. I'm not saying that you said it's not. I'm just saying it's a good
Yeah.
thing as
No.
long as we can have that discernment of knowing that it's either a call to action or a call to remember who we truly are, and which I've had to do a lot lately, is to tell myself, remind myself that I am not a body, I am safe. All these different things that come from our lessons, and to know that I am truly with God and I'm experiencing a dream, no matter how real it is and no matter how much I feel, even if I were to go out and get killed, right? Like, then the body's the one that ended, but I did not, because I am one with my Father. And those are the things that to me help me balance myself, and not let me get too much into that. Although the feelings of being in a crowded space, or being with a lot of people, or having a big party, and then all of a sudden now everybody leaves, I'm exhausted because I felt like my energy went all over the place, aside from the fact that you had to, you're the host, but or even if I'm not the host, just having that interaction. I think empaths for the most part are people that are giving energy, and they're sensing things that are happening around them, so their energy just gets drained.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
agree
that's
with
even
you.
making any sense. I've gone down a rabbit hole,
Yeah,
but
no, but it does, because that the problem, and this is what we don't understand. All of us, every single being in this world, in this universe, is the same thing. It's
mhm,
the same mind that is being, I mean, we're one. And so, you know, I think, it's, some people are just like they're closed off to this, and this is what we're talking about here, being closed off to this energy that is completely here, completely natural everywhere. And when you close yourself off from it, you put yourself in a state of fear. And so that fear,
mhm,
fear of your brother, fear of your neighbor, fear of anybody, or any system or situation. And in that fearful place, you are not feeling the love of God within you now. I guarantee you. You're feeling pretty worried about something that believe you have no control over. And in essence, the only control we have is to remain in our right mind,
Yeah.
and to be able to look at it with empathy for all, not just the ones who, in our opinion, are the victims, but because everyone in that dream is a victim. There's not a person in the dream that's not a victim. And I see Steve is driving and he's got his hand up. Put your hand on the wheel, buddy. Looks like you're going hunting. What's up,
I
sir?
I have a kind of something to throw out regarding fear and knowing I'm not my body. What about, is there a difference or a space where I don't run from fear? I actually feel fear, but I'm no longer being the fear. Uh, Fear's a funny thing because my body and my upbringing uh, immediately wants to escape it. So I'm just wondering about that fine line between recognizing it and allowing myself to notice it. Yet at the same time, when I'm in fear, then I don't really want the cortisol to go up and blood pressure to rise and the other ramifications of it. However, here I am as I speak about it. The reason I don't want it is because I'm afraid of a catastrophe in my body. So what's with the line between feeling fear and noticing it and going? I'm just putting that out there for inquiry. Thank you for listening, and response welcome.
Thank you, Steve. Oh man, that's beautiful. Zita, did you have anything to say about this? Because I see Rafi has his hand up.
Yeah,
But
Rafi has his hand up. Let's see what Rafi has to say.
okay, I'm pretty sure Rafi has a good answer for this.
I know.
So go ahead, Rafi.
Let's get really clear about fear, okay? Fear is only a feeling. That's why he said he feels the fear. You can't do anything else but with fear except feel it. And then the next step is to decide to let it go because all feelings come up to leave. The mind will fight you on this day and night with all the fierceness that it can. It's all bullshit. Fear is only a feeling, like any other feeling. Jealousy is a feeling. Nervousness is a feeling. Uh, they're just feelings. They're not facts. If it was a fact, it would be, then you'd have something to deal with. Well, the only fact is that we are infinite being. That's a fact. But the feeling, and all feelings come up as either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting safety, security, survival, the fear of death, which is our biggest fear, because we think with these bodies, we only have a lifespan and we're going to die, which is all very cute, but none of it's true. And the welcoming the fear up, yes, fear, yes, fear. What kind of want is it? What doesn't matter? It came up to leave. I love you, fear. I really love you. And now I'm letting you go. Bye bye, and watch how quick you don't feel any fear anymore. There may be more later. That's fine. Then you just go through the process. The more you do the process, the better you get at it. It's like anything else. The first time you got on a bicycle, you weren't good at it, but you tried it more and more, and then you could ride a bike no problem. The first time you tried to swim, you weren't a great swimmer, but you got good at it after you kept going on it. It's the same thing with this. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. Wow, thank you.
I
Yeah.
I see Carolina. Carolina has her hand up, and also Steve.
All right, Carolina, please go ahead.
So before I express my opinion, I wanted to know why Stephen is asking this question about fear. What's in your mind? What's in your heart in regards to fear?
Uh, what comes to mind is an alchemist that can take the fear and not dismiss it and let it pass. It's bullshit. Denial sounds like a denial or a desire to get rid of it, but rather to transmute it into something useful. That just came to mind. I am complete.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate explaining the reason for your inquiry. So, in my experience, fear is an invitation to look deeper into either myself, a situation, or a decision that I am about to make. So I don't fear fear, I welcome it and explore what is behind that and what is that doing for me if I choose the many options that I may have.
Mhm.
Ah, that feels very right on for me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's like a call to action, right?
A call to inquiry.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Steve. That was beautiful.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any thoughts before we move on? So yeah, so these practicing of energetically grounding and feeling love and looking at the feelings is not it's not a negative thing, definitely. Um, but if you don't examine it, it will continue to be a concern. Rafi, yes, please go ahead.
You brought up the point of inquiry. Inquiry is very powerful. And of course, the basics of all inquiry is who am I? What am I? If we stayed with nothing else but that, we make such incredible progress into self-realization. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Yeah, who is it that is feeling fear?
Hmm.
It's not who I am.
Hmm.
It's the body, which she's made it very clear here. This is a feeling in the body.
Hmm.
So the body really is the only place that you can find resolution in it, because in reality, there's nothing to fear. This is a dream, and all the fear that you have in your dream, it has never affected your life, your being, who you are. It can't. Yes, Steve.
Something recently changed my relationship with fear. Uh, I decided to get on my knees as the sovereign on the level of my fearful part, and I thanked it for all these years vigilantly trying to protect me. And I actually thanked it in a way that was one of love and connection and not one of dismissal or of transcendence, but one of thanks. And in doing that, I'm better able to travel with it.
Hmm.
There's a certain freedom and compassion as opposed to dismissal and transcendence. Ah, and the way it was brought up for me is like a king that knights one of his servants to the level. The king goes down to the level of the servant and knights him,
Hmm.
her. How beautiful is that? And it almost brought me to tears because for the first time in my life, and I'm talking about a long life of relationship and transcendent trying of acceptance, love, and appreciation for the very one that I don't need you to be so vigilant now, but thank you. And I will listen to you and I appreciate you. And that softened him. Thank you. I'm complete.
That's beautiful.
Oh my goodness, such beautiful discussion going on here. I
Mhm.
love it.
I love it.
So, well, let's read the last couple paragraphs of this.
Sure.
The
Sure.
reflection questions. You want to read them?
Sure. And this is the last part of the clairsentience that we're going to be reading in this little paragraph. It's clairsentience reflection questions. Have you ever listened to someone speak and they're saying all the right things, but something feels off about them? This is your clairsentience in action as you are tuning into something beneath the surface. Write about a time when you could feel other people's experiences. While there is a chance this can be a projection, after all, this whole world is a projection, there is still room for valid clairsentient intuition. Write about whether you think this was a projection or if you had validation that your intuition was correct. So that's the homework that she assigns there, the little exercise.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to comment on either of these two things, have you ever listened to someone speak and they're saying all the right things, but you don't get the right feeling from them? That happens a lot. Well, okay, that used to happen to me a lot. That I would be listening to a teacher, maybe they're on YouTube or something, or even seeing a person in real person,
Mhm.
and they would be saying these words like A Course in Miracles, or words that many like Ken Wapnick says or whatever.
Mhm.
But I just didn't feel that they were um, that they knew what they were talking about. And okay, so that's something different, because what I came to understand is that I'm only hearing what I can hear right now. So if I'm hearing that you are uh not genuine in your teacher, that's me.
Mhm.
That's my thinking. That has nothing to do with you. You might be the most genuine person with the clearest understanding. And I, because of my own thinking about who you are and the quality of your teaching. And, I mean, I know a lot of Course in Miracles teachers who I've in the past just kind of like, well, they don't know anything. Or, they're just saying the words. I've
Mhm.
thought this a lot and come to understand that it was me. It was, I have no idea
More
their
like a
level of,
judgment, right?
what's that?
More like a judgment.
Yeah, 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 just a judgment on my part.
Mhm.
So I can't say that, yes, I've heard people say things and recognized that they didn't know what they were talking about. That the only one who doesn't know is me. I'm not in a position to say what they know.
Mm.
That's,
Mm.
so make me feel so much better, because for so many years, as from when I first started studying the course, and I was influenced, I'm not going to say it's their fault, but I was influenced by some teachers to think that one teacher is better than another, or that one teacher knows more or another teacher knows less. I was influenced to think that, and I fell for it. Now I recognize that that was not, none of that was true. And that each and every single person, that's why I love how run this room the way that we do. Because, I recognized each and every person here has a holy mind and a valid point of view.
Mhm.
And there's nobody who's a better teacher than another.
Mhm.
You could say that one or the other, or I like their books, or it's because that's what you can understand. That doesn't mean that their book are better than anybody else's. That just means that, I've got a limited uh limited understanding or comprehension of who you are. And so if you're not Ken Wapnick, I'm not reading your book. That's silly. That's silly. So that first one, I'm just like, yeah, no, that has nothing to do with my knowing of how what level another person is on or how they're going. That's my own opinion right there. So no, I don't buy that, Corinne. I love it. I love your book, but I'm not buying that. You're wrong. Oh gosh. Oh my God. I just did it. Okay.
So what about looking at it this way? Like, for example, in the same way that Helen Schuckman had that, she wasn't talking to her, but she could have that feeling of that girl flying. She was afraid of flying. It was what it was with her. That you, for example, it happens to me. Like I have my little group of people that I work with, and there's someone always, like everybody has their own opinions of things, and we nothing to do spiritually, it's all work. But I can hear behind the words of this person, especially like something's off with her today. Something's not well. And so I would ask separately, and I did. And that's how I found out that she's dealing with her mom who has Alzheimer's, and she hasn't been able to sleep. She's been very stressed out, and then she has to babysit her grandkids also on top of that, and she has to do her job. So even though she was saying all the right things and we were just talking about work and a project that we were on, something was telling me that there's something off with her. And I didn't know what was going on until I reached out and I said, "Hey, everything okay? Like, do you need any help with the project that we were working on?" Kind of like opening up in that sense. And that's how she ended up telling me all this and then thanking me. And so once in a while, I reach out to her and she reaches out to me to check in and say, "Hey, everything okay?" That kind of thing. Um, but I think it's more than that judgment. It's more of like you can see what they're saying, but maybe how can I put it? There's I'm not going to say any type of identifying any religion or anything like that, but let's say a person from a specific religion group and they are the head of that one group, and this person is saying all the right things because they're reading from their most precious book, whatever book that is. But then you're listening to them talking about all these things, but somehow you have a feeling of them. It's not that what they're saying is wrong or that they're delivering it wrong. They might be saying all the right things. However, there's something about that person. And as time goes by, you realize that this person has a very, very dark side, that they're using the money that they receive for nefarious purposes, or they are, abusive to their wife if it's a guy, or the other way around. It's like all these different things that you sense that there's something wrong with that person, but you're not judging them right away. You just have a feeling that you don't know what that is. And that's,
Right.
I think, our sense of kind of protecting ourselves from not getting too involved and kind of stepping away, or maybe being called to do something when the time comes. But at that moment, I think that's how I see it, how I see that the first paragraph about listening to someone speak, and they're saying all the right things, but yeah. And it doesn't have to be with religion. It could be a person very close to you that they can be talking and saying all the right things. However, it doesn't feel like it's, you know, it's matching what they're saying with what you feel like something's off. And
Yeah.
then later you can verify that. Um, but have you had an experience where you were able to validate either way, like it was whether it was a projection, meaning you're projecting those feelings towards that person, or were you able to validate that your intuition was correct?
Yeah, well, and I guess, a validation of if a person is being doing the wrong thing, you're gonna have a confirmation bias that's gonna come up and say, whatever it is that they did, yep, I knew it, they did it. But
Yeah.
but as far as the other situation where, someone's having a difficult time and you're able to intuit that they need your compassion, and you operate appropriately in relationship to that by
Right.
showing them compassion. I think that's a wonderful use of this. I think,
Mhm.
this is probably being truly helpful.
Right.
Uh, you know, and so it can go both ways, excuse me, depending on, which teacher I choose to listen to,
Yeah.
which voice I choose to listen to. And so, I guess it all comes right down to, ask the Holy Spirit, what is this? And what is it for? And that way you're not on the hook for making a decision. You just have to just be open-minded and allow the Holy Spirit to decide for God for you, which is what Course in Miracles says. And I think that makes sense. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So anybody else? Have any thoughts before I don't know if we want to move on, if this is the last of
No,
this.
there's
And
still there's still a lot. I don't think we'd be able to cover it in 5 minutes.
no. So actually I'm just going to go ahead and close the book because we're getting up to the top of the hour. Excuse me. This book that we're reading is called Claire's for Course Students by Corinne Zupko. And because I'm just going to go back to the top so people can see it. It's a free book. It's a free download if you go to her website and see if that works. Yeah, it works. It does. So you go to her website, which is uh, I'll find the thing for it. Her name is Corinne, Corinne, Zupko. I always put a B instead of a. So Corinne Zupko. And this book is called The Clairs for Course Students. Enhance your guidance as a student of A Course in Miracles through clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, and clairsentience. And I think she does a pretty good job of describing what these are. Of course, for me,
Mhm.
it's not that I'm ignorant of this stuff, but uh, I'm just kind of skeptical when we start you know defining what it is that's happening. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So anyway, does Zita, you guys have anything else to say? Jorge, Zita? Kind of got a little full
Like,
day.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. No, aside from, I think it has been really good for me to read this book because I love how she finds the connections within the Course in Miracles, which is to me the only book, right? For me anyway. Um, everything is able to be matched to it, and I love that part.
I do too.
Yeah. So I'm
It is.
grateful that you shared that information with me. I like it.
Carolina has her hand up. Go ahead,
Oh, there you
Carolina.
go.
A simple phrase that tells me the difference is the truth. The
Mhm.
truth is the truth, and the truth was, is, and will be.
Mhm. And that's something that you just feel in your body. I mean, you can feel it when somebody's talking. You feel that truth, and that's how you can identify. Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you. And yeah,
Rafi.
Rafi has his hand up also. Go ahead.
I love how I'm constantly reminded that we are all divinely connected. It is so powerful and beautiful. Thank you. Love, 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 love you.
Love you too.
Love you, Rafi. Love you guys. I love you all. And I'm going to go ahead and stop.